Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be connecting our 7200 watt Y and H inverter up to our house so that we can go completely off grid. And we're going to be using this 7200 watt inverter, brand new from Y and H. We'll also be using these 8 batteries from Nudie Power. These are 12 volt, 100 amp hour each. And we're going to be putting these in series to create 2 different battery banks, 48 volts each. I know many people recommend not doing it this way and just to use a 48 volt battery bank that is already put together, like rack batteries. But as long as you're using the same batteries, you'll see that this won't be a problem. So we're going to connect these 8 batteries along with this 7200 watt inverter. And we're also going to be including our solar cables, which are coming in from outside. We're going to be using these cables to connect everything. And we're going to go ahead and get started and power this house off the grid. Because right now you are completely at the mercy of your power company or even at the mercy of a natural disaster, a storm, anything like that. And you really just want to be able to have your power set up in a way that if there is any kind of disaster or a power outage, you don't even know about it unless you go outside and see your neighbors don't have any power. So let's go ahead and get started. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove our bottom cover so that we can go ahead and get our wiring process started. Okay, now with that revealed, we can see our line in, we can see our line out, which is AC in and AC out. So we have line 1 and line 2, which represents the lines that will be coming in directly from the pole or the grid, if this was a grid, which in essence, this is your own microgrid. So we can see our inputs, we can see our outputs, and we can see where the solar goes in, and we can see where our battery connections are. So we're going to get started with all these. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to wire up our solar intake cables, only because we want to get that out of the way. Not because it's a problem, but just to have that out of the way makes a lot of sense. So we're going to get started with those first. And start with our positive. They're nice and tight. And next we're going to do our negative. Okay, let's give it a nice little tug. Make sure they're in there firm. And they are. Okay, now with our solar panel wires connected, the next thing we want to connect is our battery cables. And if you'll notice on these cables here, the positive cable is female and the negative cable is male. It should look like that on your inverter as well too, for your solar panel inputs. Okay, so now we're gonna get wired up with our battery and go from there. Let's first start with our positive. And then our negative. Okay. Now let's tighten those in place. Nice and tight. Now we're going to build our batteries. So let's get started with that. The first thing we have to do with these batteries is take them from 12 volt, which is where they are now, to create a 48 volt series out of them. And here's how we do that. So from here, we take our cables and we connect them in series, which means we connect one battery to another battery by using the negative from one battery to connect to the positive of another all the way around until we get to the end. So we're going to be using 2 red cables and 1 black cable for this battery in series. So we're going to get started with that. I always use the black cable for the ends to connect these ends together. And I use the red cables to create series for the sides, like this. And just like that, you're now looking at 48 volts. So I'm just going to tighten it down and make sure we don't have any pounds out of it, and go from there. Okay, now let's test it and see what our voltage is. Okay, so normally these batteries would be sitting somewhere around 13.2 each. So let's check that out. Okay, let's see what we got. Yeah, each battery is about 13.2. And together, in the series we have it in, we got 52.7. We're good to go. Okay, so we take our layer cake and we connect our second set of batteries. Let's get started. And just like that, we've created another 48-volt battery bank. Let's tighten it down. And there we go. Now we've got 2 48-volt battery banks, and we just need to connect them. So let's get started with that. Okay, and they're connected, which means that now we have 48 volts at 200 amps. This was a 100 amp hour before. Now with 2 sets, it's 200 amp hours, still at 48 volts. And the only thing we got left now to do is to connect our inverter to our batteries, and we can power it on. So let's get started with that. Okay, I'm going to add a fuse just in case we have any shorts or just any kind of problems. We want to be able to make sure that we have something to stop it so that we just don't go out and blow our system out and ruin our equipment. So I'm going to put this fuse here to make sure that that doesn't happen. Okay, nice and tight. Okay, let's tighten it down. Okay, with that nice and tight, we'll put our cover back on. can now connect it to our positive terminal on our battery. And tighten it down. We'll also connect our negative terminal. Make it a small spark because I don't have a way to use a capacitor to pre-charge the inverter. So here we go. Let's see what we get. Small spark, nothing major. Okay, so now we are now fully connected and we have our fuse connected. Okay, now that we have our batteries connected, we're going to run our inverter to our AC switch, our 240, and we're going to run the wire out from the inverter into our breaker, and we'll be done. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Okay, next we'll be adding our meter. I'm going to get that on there now. These go into line 1 and line 2. Give it a tug. Make sure she's in there good. And now we're going to be connecting our meter to our box. And that's our last step. After that, we plug in our solar panels and we are done. Okay, now with our meter connected to our breaker box over here, the only thing we have to do now is connect our solar panels to our inverter, and we're ready to power it on. So let's go ahead and do that. Look at that, she powered on already. Okay, so she's not powered on, but she's charging. And right now it says that we have 300 volts coming in. Batteries are at 52.6. Okay, so she's powered on. And as you can see, we're pulling in about just over 2,200 watts. And what we're going to do now is we're going to connect this to our house via our transfer switch and see what happens. Here goes nothing. There we have it. And as you can see, we got about 2,000, just 2,100 watts coming in. Got about 918 watts going to the house, with about 938 watts going to charge the batteries. So we're ranging from between 1,900 watts to about 2,000 watts, and it'll go up as the sun comes out more. There we are, 2151 as far as the watts coming in, 2207, and we are doing great. The house is charging and powering and everything. The house is using about 226 watts, and we got nothing coming in from the grid whatsoever. So the whole house is being powered by our batteries and nothing more. So let's just get a good look at our setup and see what we got here one more time. Okay, here's our inverter. Those are our 8 batteries. And that is it going into the house. We are doing good. We got our meter. It's going to tell us how many kilowatt hours that this produced, so we know how many we actually saved, and we'll multiply that by about 25 cents, which is about the kilowatt hour rate here in New York, non-peak hours. And peak hours here is about 30 cents per kilowatt hour. So let's see what we got. I'll check back in with you guys in a little while and let you know how everything's working out. Thank you for joining me. There we go, guys. That's our entire little system right there. And she's working great. Please please like and subscribe. I could really use the subscribers. I'd like to start making money from this channel so I can buy the things I really want, so that I can do the videos on the things that I really want instead of just the things that I can afford for now. Thanks a lot. Please don't forget, like, subscribe, share, and hype this video. Hype me up. Hype me up. Thanks for joining me, man.